Hiya, I'm Barry. I make videos on cute and casual games, including Let's Plays and tips and tricks, and today I'm here with the landlord simulation game, The Tenants. I initially got this game just to scratch my house decoration itch, but I'm now well over 70 hours in the game and I'm still going strong. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the 10 things I wish I knew before starting The Tenants. Just note that I'm sorry if there's a lot of background noises in this video because there's a lot of construction going on and that's just my life now. But now, without further ado, let's get started. I wish I knew that not all jobs are created equal. Like I said, I started this game to scratch my house decoration itch, and so I just started taking all of the renovation jobs. And even among the renovation jobs, all of these jobs are not created equal. First of all, there's different types of jobs. There's creative jobs, there's puzzle jobs, there's like a theme job, there's elite contracts, there's later on company, like business decoration jobs, and so on. Apart from that, different jobs will want you to focus on different things. They might want you to focus on the walls or the floors or on the furniture. And then there are different things that they don't mind or they don't care about. They might not care that you have a different flooring than what they want. They might not care about the prestige score and so on. Different jobs will also have a different number of rooms and different pay. So, for me personally, what I like to do, number one, is I like to take all of the puzzle jobs because I think they're a fun and nice break from the gameplay, and I just find it really fun. Number two is I like to take a look at the pay per room. So I like to stick somewhere around $10,000 per room. If it's less, I might consider it if the theme is nice, if it sounds fun, and so on. But in general, if I'm just like trying to knock out the gameplay, then I will pick something that pays more than $10,000 a room. And the last thing that I do focus on is what they don't mind or want you to focus on. If the job focuses on prestige, I don't really like those jobs because there's a chance that they might ask you to have a garden that has a prestige level A, and that's pretty difficult to get, especially earlier on in the game. And there's also some room types that are harder to get a prestige level A on. So I try to avoid those, and I really like jobs that say they don't mind prestige, because with those jobs I can basically put things anywhere, anyhow I like, not really care about what everything is, especially if I'm just wanting to knock out a job to get some money, then I definitely will take those. So yeah, try to think about what the different aspects of the job is before you take it, because some jobs might take a longer time than you want or might not be as fun as you want it to be, especially if you don't have a lot of furniture unlocked for these types of jobs. I'm looking at you, gardens. I wish I knew to take babysitting jobs for easy money. So there's 3 different jobs that you can take. There's renovation jobs, which I just talked about. There's open house jobs, which are pretty straightforward, also I hate them. And there's babysitting jobs. At any given time, you can have 2 jobs accepted. And so what I like to do is I like to take a renovation job and a babysitting job, because a babysitting job is fairly passive. So I would take a renovation job, I take a babysitting job. Personally, I like to go and spend the landlord points that are given with the job and send that babysitting tenant a gift or a service. That way they kind of like me. And then I go on ahead and do my renovations. And then while I'm doing the renovations, if there's anything that happens with a tenant that you're babysitting, you can basically just resolve it using your phone. You just say, I'll send a pro in, I'll send a pro in, I'll send a pro in. That's basically what I do. These jobs don't pay as much, but I think they're worth it, because then afterwards, when you're done with the renovation job, you can take another renovation job, and it's no big deal. You're earning $5,000 that you wouldn't have otherwise earned, because you can't do 2 renovation jobs at once, even if you take it. The only downside to this is that you can only take 2 jobs at once. So when you have those 2 jobs, a babysitting job and a renovation job, and then an elite contract pops up, you might be worried that the elite contract might disappear. My only advice for this is that when you're renovating, time passes by slower. So just try to get the renovation done, and then as soon as you deliver that renovation, accept the elite contract that popped up. I wish I knew how prestige works, and honestly, I'm still not an expert on it. The general gist of this is that prestige is a scoring system, and there's a numerical score and a letter score. So for most renovation jobs, you're going to be able to see the desired prestige on the right side of the screen, and it's going to be a letter. The letter to the right will be the letter that they want the prestige to be at, and then the letter to the left is what the prestige is currently at. And basically, the way prestige works is that the more stuff you can cram into a room, the higher it goes. And then the more expensive stuff, the higher it goes, as well as the more expensive wallpaper, flooring, and door that you use. So basically, more expensive stuff, more prestige. Just know that prestige exists, because certainly I did not know that when I first started playing the game. I don't know if it was in a tutorial or I basically just skimmed all over the words because I just wanted to get decorating. But yeah, just understand or try to understand how prestige works. It's really hard. There's not a lot of info on it, I find, online. So good luck with that. I'm planning on making a video that basically includes what I do to get the prestige scores up. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to like and subscribe this video. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. And moving on. I wish I knew about the prestige interface. Again, this might just be me not reading tutorials and skimming and whatnot, but you can access the prestige interface by pressing Alt and clicking on one of the words, the rooms that pop up. The prestige interface shows you the numerical prestige score, not just the letter like how you would usually see it. And it also includes a list of items that will add prestige points to your room. The problem with the list is that it's definitely not definitive. It's not just those things that will add a prestige score to your room. It's just things that I think are thematically fitting into a bedroom. Say a bedroom has to have a bed, it has to have a wardrobe, has to have a rug, and so on. Or a kitchen has to have a fridge and a stove or a sink, and so on. But anything you can put down, like any furniture item, will definitely increase the prestige score even if it's not on that list. One thing that you might notice, though, is that if you add an item, that the prestige score isn't going up. And that's because the prestige score that is shown on the interface are just whole numbers. They don't show decimals or fractional increases of the prestige score. So sometimes you're going to have to put multiple of an item before you see the prestige score go up. Just be careful with this because there is a limit to how much it's going to increase from one item. And once you reach that limit, but keep putting more items, more of that same item in, the prestige score is going to start going down. So it's just helpful to look over it once in a while, as well as get some ideas on what more you can add to the room. But basically, it's just a nice guide and it'll give you the numerical number you want. I personally, for my own properties, try to shoot for prestige scores over 130. And that lets me really rent out the properties that I own at a really good price. I wish I knew that elite properties can go on sale as is. So while you're playing, you're going to notice that there are elite contracts that pop up. These will be in the color brown and they are themed. Every time that you complete this contract, it unlocks a set of furniture that are unique to that contract. So after you've done an elite contract 3 times, that property will start going on sale. And I do like elite properties. I find that they have really good like neighborhood prosperities, which helps you be able to rent these properties out for a good price. My main thing with this tip is that on the 3rd time that you're decorating, you might be able to buy the property as is, the same way that you decorated it. And the problem with that is that when I first started, the first time I got it, I really put my all into decorating it because it was new, it was different, it was fun, it had a theme to it, whether it was a beach house or a train or whatever. I put effort to it. I had to do it 2 more times and I was lazy. By the third time when I bought the property, it looked awful and I had to like basically do a complete overhaul. So my tip here is basically by the third time you're doing it, if you want to buy that property, you can start decorating it similar to the way that you would like it. That way, when you buy it, you're only going to need minor renovations to it. Or you could just be like me and completely like destroy the place. But that's my tip. Of course, this isn't always true. Sometimes you're going to buy them and they're empty, but I've basically bought elite properties a couple of times and they looked exactly the same as when I decorated them. I wish I knew to make properties for different types of tenants. So there's different archetypes of tenants. You know, there's like alcoholics, there's artists, there's musicians, magicians. Are there magicians? I'm not sure. Video gamers, I think I said alcoholics, but you get the gist. And basically, you're going to want to have different types of tenants who like to do different things. And this is for a couple of reasons. The first one is as you level up the tenant, you will get rewards that are special items linked to that archetype. Say like a gamer might give you like a gaming keyboard, a gaming fridge, and a gaming mouse. Or like an athlete will give you a sports cookbook and like really fancy workout machinery. I don't know the name of those. And that will really just like open up your decoration possibilities by getting these items, and I don't think there's any other way to get them, or maybe in the end game, I'm not too sure because I'm not there yet. But apart from getting these unique items, it's also just really fun to have different types of tenants because then not all of your decorations will be the same. I personally like to decorate for gamers because I like to think about it as like my dream room and so on, but all of the different archetypes come with mini games that are all pretty fun. So with the gamers, you might play video games with them. With the athletes, you might spot their lifts. With the alcoholic, which is the most ridiculous one, honestly, is like you have to give them directions to their bed because they're so wasted. So by only signing in tenants that all have the same archetype, you're missing out on these fun little mini games. So that's why I would recommend to design for different personality types. I wish I knew to return to old properties. As you go along in the game, you're going to unlock more and more furniture from completing elite contracts or simply just leveling up or completing main missions and things like that. And these new furniture items can really help you bring prestige scores up and allow you to get a better cash flow in the game. And I pretty much neglected my previous properties and really left them to the person I hired in the game, but I learned that, sometimes you're just making $2,000 on that one property in the slums, and that's kind of rough. So I went back to my old properties. The only tough part is, of course, you have to either wait for your current contracted tenant to leave, or you can sabotage them so that they'll leave. Or you can, if you like them, you can wait for them to reach a certain level. That way you can get them to attend an open house at another one of your properties. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you're going to want to reevaluate the properties that you used to own and see, is it worth keeping these or should you just basically sell them? I have sold properties this way before, and then other times I just refurbish the properties, and I went from like renting them out at $10,000 to renting them out at $30,000, which is crazy difference just because you have new furniture. So yeah, remember to go back to your old properties and decide what to do with them, sell or refurbish them. I wish I knew how to rent to a business. So in the game, once you get to Manhattan, you can get a business license to jobs to rent out the property to companies and businesses. There's a handful of different businesses in the game. I'm not sure if I can remember them all off the top of my head, but there's a private investigator business, accounting firm, architecture firm, there's a record label, and a game development company. And figuring out how to get the business license is pretty simple, really just a click of the button. The tough part is when you get to the decoration aspect or the renovation aspect, and it tells you that you need at least 2 work desks to rent out this property. So the first thing you want to keep in mind is that you have to decide on what type of company you want to rent out to. Like the ones I listed before, you might want to rent out to a game development company, or you might want to rent out to like an accounting firm. So my very first property, I decided I wanted to rent out to an accounting firm, and it was a pretty small property. I put in 6 accounting tables and then plus the boss table. And I did really good. I had really high prestige scores for all of the rooms. You need 3 rooms, a boss room, a bathroom, and of course the open area where your employees work. But the problem came when it was time for the open house. There were no accounting companies that had just 7 employees. They had more. So I couldn't rent them out to any of them. But what I realized while I was doing the open house was that owners of private investigator companies would come and they only had like 4 or 5 employees. So I ended up basically destroying the place and changing it to a private investigator firm, and then I was able to rent it out. So I found like a post online, and they theorized, or maybe they were sure, I'm not entirely sure, that there is a range to the number of employees each type of business would possibly have, with private investigator business having the lowest ones. And because there are no set numbers for this, it can be kind of hard to plan or decide on what type of business you're going to make. Like, you can't just put 2 work desks down. I guarantee you it's going to be like super, super hard to rent out that property, especially for like larger companies, and you're making it really hard to do the open houses by just putting 2 things down. But then you also don't have exact numbers for each type of company, so how do you know? Honestly, I don't know, but I can tell you that what did work for me was starting out with a private investigator company. I did rent it out to only like 5 or 6 employees. Following that, I made like an accounting company. That one I think had around 10 or so, maybe more. And then I did an architecture company. That one has like 15. I did a record label company. That one has like 9 employees. So maybe some of them overlap and whatnot. But I guess the main takeaway from this point is put more than 2 desks. And the most that you can put down, the more that you can put down, the more workspaces, work desks you can put down, the better. Because that really just makes it easier for you to be able to rent out these properties to a business. I wish I knew to spend time in the different areas, and this is really linked to unlocking hidden achievements. If you don't want to know what the hidden achievement is, just skip on to the next thing. I'm going to timestamp this video, hopefully I remember to do it, but go away now. And if you don't care about, like keeping hidden achievements a secret, then you can go ahead and listen to what I have to say about this. But there's 2 achievements that I had a really hard time getting. The first one was called The One Who Knocks, and this is an achievement where you have to take a bribe from a tenant that manufactures drugs. It's actually a reference to Breaking Bad. So I tried to look online, like different posts or comments from different people, how to get this, how do I get a tenant that manufactures drugs, and as well as my own ideas. And I think they said that you need to have like drug manufacturing furniture, like hazmat suits and chest tubes and flasks or whatever, and that they have to be a mobster, or maybe I made that up, I'm not sure. But it actually took me like 60 to 65 hours in the game. Like at my 60 like 60 to 65 hour mark before I got this achievement, which is crazy because this achievement can only be, you can only get this achievement in the slums, apparently. So, my tip for this is I think it has to be an alcoholic tenant, but I'm not entirely sure. It could be different. They don't have to be a mobster. I ended up getting mine from an alcoholic construction worker. I don't think you need to have any drug making furniture because I got mine from an apartment that doesn't have any at all. So I think what you really just need to do is, have like I said, have a variety of different tenant archetypes and spend time in the slums to be able to trigger this event. The other thing that I had trouble getting was the case of the missing yogurt. That one's a bit more reasonable because that one is only tied to Manhattan, so you can only get it in Manhattan, and you need to be renting out to a company to be able to get this achievement. So yeah, spend time in areas even though you're past them, especially if you want to get all of the achievements, because there are some achievements that are only tied to certain areas, like these two, which are tied to the slums and Manhattan. Lastly, I wish I knew that the gameplay is very repetitive. The gameplay loop for the tenants is basically decorate, 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 open house, decorate, 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 open house. That said, that's not bad because the game does offer a lot of variety, even though the gameplay loop is very similar. Some of my recommendations to like spice up your gameplay loop is basically covered by all of the tips. I'm just gonna highlight them a bit. It's like taking different types of jobs. You can decorate kitchens, bathrooms, gardens, bedrooms, decorate the temple, take your elite contracts and decorate the beach house, a store, a bakery, decorate the train, the lighthouse, and so on. That can offer some variety in terms of decorating, but also taking puzzle jobs because those are a whole different beast together. A whole different beast from the other jobs. You can also take babysitting jobs and open house jobs, which are pretty much different. And also, like, making different types of properties can make it more exciting because then you're trying to decorate like differently, using different types of furniture as well. Also, having different tenants, like I said, will get you, did I say this? But it will get you like different mini games. Like you'll be playing video games with the gamer, or spotting the athlete, or giving instructions to the alcoholic, and so on. And so even though the gameplay loop itself is very repetitive, there's a lot of fun things along the way that you can look forward to, as long as you kind of follow some of the tips that I've mentioned before. And even though it's repetitive, as you can see, I'm still not done with the game. In fact, I'm probably gonna load it up right now to get some videos for this video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I hope that my things that I wish I knew before I started the Tenants will help you as well. Look out for my video for prestige and decorating tips in the Tenants. And yeah, if you found this video useful, please press the like button, and if you want to see more from me, please press subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!